All right, now let's talk business. Now, Coach Sue is here to share with us about three topics, which she've already mentioned one of them, but she's going to expound some more. Let's start with masterclass versus webinar or challenge. Understanding the key difference. So, what do we mean by this? Could you expound more?
Yeah, as I said, there are kind of conversion events, and the interesting thing is challenges today are really popular. But I did my first challenge when Facebook started having groups at one point, because we had just profiles and pages, then we got Facebook groups, and I think my group I started, probably about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And it was one of the first ones. And I did a challenge back then. It was a 20-day challenge, and they were quite popular for a while. And then they kind of went out, and now they're really, really popular. And to me, a challenge is just a multi-day event. It's interesting how we just keep evolving things and changing the name of it. Like Jeff Walker had his, he used to do his, oh shoot, I'm trying to remember what he called it back then, but really it's just a challenge. He used to do videos, 20-minute videos. It was a video series, and it wasn't live. It was just like pre-recorded, and people would watch them. And he'd move people through some training and then made an offer. Well, a challenge is the same thing. It's just a series of master classes, whether you do 3 days or 5 days. One of my clients, she just does 2 days. So it doesn't really matter. It's just you getting in front of your audience, sharing valuable information with them, giving them an experience, solving some small problems for them, and then making an offer. So, really, from my point of view, there really is no difference. They're kind of style points. But as I mentioned earlier, I think that people kind of newer to this think that master classes are for teaching and webinars are for selling. And really, I don't think it really matters. They both should do both things.
All right. I have others. Okay. So, is there like potential limitations and challenges that one might face when hosting a masterclass, and how can they overcome?
I'm sorry, can you try that again? Is there
I
any?
mean, potential limitations or challenges that one might face. Like, for example, I would like to have a host a masterclass or a challenge or whatever we call it, right? How can they overcome?
Wow, that's a really wide open topic that we could probably spend days on.
I'll just give one.
Yeah,
Probably.
some challenges to overcome. Well, I'm going to land up sliding into the next topic probably, because really the challenge, I talk about the biggest mistakes people make, but often the challenge is figuring out what to teach on. That seems to be the well, actually, I'm going to reword that. It's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. And in this case, I'm saying the biggest challenge for most people is not showing up and talking. Most of us who want to do it can do it. I think the biggest challenge is getting people to take action on your offer.
Right. Okay, now sliding to topic number two. Why entrepreneurs need masterclass?
Well, you know, the word need kind of hits on me, because do we need one? No, but I think they're really smart if they do it. And so, smart entrepreneurs will use master classes as a leveraged marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, because you can, right now, DM marketing is a hot thing, using a setter and, doing that, approaching people one at a time. That's a really slow, hard grind. I mean, that's really tough. You can do direct messaging. You can write content and then hope it's not very driven. It's very passive. You put content out there, you hope someone's going to take action on it. But ultimately, speaking, this is the strategy. It's speaking virtually or live, doesn't really matter. We already kind of covered that off, but it is a leveraged way to get in front of your prospects on a much mass reach. We're all global now. If you weren't global before COVID, you certainly are global after COVID. So your outreach is so much farther.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives a couple things. So one of the benefits is obviously you gain visibility. because you get in front of more people. You gain credibility because you're sharing valuable information. People get to know what you think and what you're about. You position yourself as that go-to expert. And of course, the best thing is that it's leverage sales. You have an opportunity to make an offer. And if you get good at it and have conversions that work, you're going to come away with clients for the efforts that you put into it.
I think that is where most people who do masterclass or live events is most of them are having a hard time on the way of you know selling their offer by
Yeah.
not really selling. You get
Well,
what I mean? It's very
you're,
difficult.
no, you're right, and this is something we could talk about for at length in a way, because you began asking me like what was my journey in the master classes, and I kind of started, but I didn't finish the whole point of view on that one. Is like, as I said, anyone I like speaking, so I learned how to speak, and I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
I love being on stage. I was great, and at first it was so fun, it was so exciting, and I'll tell you that this is one of the first things I did. I was back one day years ago. I was walking down my hallway in my house, and I had this idea that I wanted to make $20,000 in a weekend. I just that was just like, I want to make $20,000 in a weekend. It's like, okay, how can I do that?
Hmm.
And and I don't know why I said a weekend, but like in a 3-day thing kind of. I thought, well, how could I do that? And then it was like, okay, well, what could I sell? So I had back then a little program I was selling for, I think it was $297. It was Get Clients Now. I was one of the licensees of that program by CJ Hayden. And so, and I was selling it, like everyone else was. It was an online, 4-session program for $250. I know back in the day, that was the going rate. And I thought, well, I could sell that for $1,000 if I dressed it up. So I gave them a full day workshop and then an evening, and we, kind of dressed it up, kind of gave it more value, threw some coaching in it. And I thought, great, 20 people, $1,000. There's my $20,000. It's easy, right? Easy peasy.
Right. The
and
math
so
is very easy.
math is always so much easier
Yes.
than the result. That's for sure. So that was kind of where I thought, okay, I can do that. And then I used to, at early days on, I used to actually get booked to speak and do training for companies.
Mhm.
And when I did that, I always used to do a dining room event. So this is a good tip. If any of you are speakers or want to be speakers, this is what worked for me. I kind of procrastinate. So the fun thing is I always had the opportunity to do a dress rehearsal in my dining room. And so I'd have like 5 or 6 people come and bring a friend. And so we kind of do a dress rehearsal of my presentation. And I got this great idea. I should just rent a hotel boardroom and do a free evening seminar. And so that's where it started from. I thought I would do a free evening seminar and have 20 people. And I just kept marketing it. And all of a sudden, we had more people, and I phoned the hotel, got a bigger room and a bigger room. Well, anyways, we landed up with 300 people signed up, and 187 showed up, filled the ballroom. And that became my first free evening seminar. And it was kind of a fun thing to do. So speaking was fun and easy. But I got so frustrated because the first few times I was thrilled with that. But
Mhm.
after a while, I was doing a webinar, masterclass back in the day, and you know, I poured out great content. People messaged me; they loved the presentation, but I got no sales.
Yeah.
I remember being so devastated. Like, it's okay the first time, the second time, the third. After a while, you're thinking, "What the hell am I doing this for?" And
Yeah. Isn't it so frustrating?
it was
I experienced
heartbreaking.
that last year.
I was near tears. I remember it was a Thursday afternoon. I remember this so clear. It was Thursday afternoon. I finished my master class. I got all these accolades, no sales, and I just couldn't be at my desk for another moment. Like, I could not sit there for another moment. And I went downstairs, and my husband was there, and he goes, "So how did you do?" Like, he's all excited for me because he knew what I was doing. And I just burst into tears. Because it was like devastating that it didn't convert. So really, converting is the biggest challenge, and that's when in that moment I decided that I was going to invest in myself and go hire the best speaking from stage conversion people I could find, which I
Mhm.
did, and that created my whole kind of platform for increasing and improving my skills and creating my what I call my Masterclass Conversion Framework, because that framework now is what I use to convert and what I teach my clients to do so that they convert. And there is an art to it. Speaking is easy, conversion is not.
True.
Yeah.
True. Plus, of course, have that courage and be braver enough, be brave enough to actually try it and practice until the imperfect becomes perfect.
Well, true, and it's like the same thing. Our kitchen sink. We had a plumbing issue in our kitchen sink, and my husband like Mr. Fix It says I can do this on my own, and I'm like going, oh come on, and there I am 2 weeks later still washing dishes in the bathtub. It's like just for God's sakes, go get help. And it's the same thing in your business is that you can figure it out on your own, take the hard, low, slow, beat up way of getting to the end result, or you can go and invest in yourself. And, when we do that and we go and we lean into an expert, we can really shorten our journey. We can shorten our learning. And I think that's really valuable.
Right.
Hang on. Our little doggy wants to get outside. Come on.
Tegan will leave the room.
Yeah, Tegan's in and out.
All right. Okay,